episode 477. Fuck, how am I doing this? Speaker. With Mr. Dale Comstock, the American Badass. And I think this is volume 11 or 12, or it's towards the end. We've gone over Dr. Comstock's book, American Badass, for the last 12 volumes of this. You can go back through and listen to all of them, or just buy the book, you fucking communists. Just stop fucking Dale. Go buy the book. I'll put it in the description. Go buy the goddamn book. It's a one-day read. It's fantastic. But Dale's a regular enough guest that I don't think I need to introduce him. Go back and listen to all the episodes. Dale was in Delta Force and in OGA and a whole bunch of other Black Ops, Jason Bourne, James Bond shit. And Dale, take it away, my good friend.
All right, man. Cool. Thanks for having me on. So today what I want to do is wrap up the book, and just dig into the final chapters, which really, kind of were the end of, really it was the ending in 2011. Okay. So we're talking 10 years ago is when this book was written up to that time frame. And so we've talked about my other, in the previous chapters, we talked about my experiences in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other places with, the other government agency out there, Office of Government Affairs, in the unit, et cetera, et cetera. So today I'm going to talk about the Exodus. Last week I talked about the Exodus. I talked about my epiphany, and it was the final ambush where I decided that it's time to get out of this line of work and go, live in a civilian world and do, corporate type things, civilian type things. So one of the other things that happened at the same time as I decided to pull out and, put in my resignation was I got approached by Discovery Channel. Actually, I was discovered by Discovery Channel. How appropriate, right? And that actually happened through a referral. Somebody, knew one of the producers from Discovery Channel, was aware of a new TV show they're coming up with, and he thought of me, thought I'd be a great fit, referred me to the producer. Long story short, they approached me, and I ended up on a TV show called One Man Army. And so on One Man Army, it was basically a competition between other, soldiers. And each episode, was, basically four guys competing against each other. And in my particular show, what happened was I was competing against a SEAL, a Ranger, and a Marine. And then it was me. And I remember that the one event that we did was, if you can imagine, a big giant gravel pit. I mean, with the pea gravel about maybe at least 12 inches deep, and like a soggy, muddy bottom underneath it. They kept it wet, so it was hard to get traction, is what I'm trying to say, in this pea gravel pit. And it was probably across from one side to the other was maybe, I'm going to say maybe 20 yards across, and maybe about 20 yards. And in the middle, there was a pole, and in the middle of this pole, there was it was a ring, and then there was four chains attached going in the four cardinal directions, and on the end of each chain was a belt. Okay, and each contestant had to put the belt around his waist with this chain attached to his front, and you were not allowed to hold on to the chain. Okay, and pull on the chain. You had to just use your body, but no hands were allowed. So the goal was on the signal to go, each guy would try to pull his weight and pull himself backwards, because behind each one of us, we had a podium set up with a red buzzer on it. And I would say it was maybe 20 feet behind me. And what I had to do is get to my red buzzer and hit it. And if I could do that 3 times, then I would be out of the contest and I was safe. And then the next 3 guys would do the same until there was one guy left, and that one guy that was left would be eliminated, right? So there's a little bit of strategy involved, right? It looked like, okay, there's going to be 4 guys pulling against each other, and really it should have been. But what these other three guys did, somehow they coordinated between themselves to all three pull against me alone, right? So they all ran to one side, and basically they all pulled, and there was no way I could outpull three other guys. And one by one, they were hitting their buzzers, right, and eliminated themselves. They all knew they were safe as long as the three worked together and left me there. So it really came down to that at the end. I think I did like 13 evolutions, and I'm finally with the last guy pulling against him, and I got no power left, man. My legs, I ripped my hamstring at this point already. It was pretty bad. I actually still had the pictures of it. But, I basically had one wheel left and to pull against this guy. And I've already done 13 evolutions against three guys. And so I was spent. And so, but I put up a valorous effort, and, was not enough. And at the end, it was, basically I got eliminated. But it was obvious to everybody that watched that, basically those three guys go, if we want to stay in the show and we want to win, we got to get rid of that guy first because he's much bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so it worked. But of all those guys in the show, I was the only guy to get approached by NBC 6 months later and go, hey, we like what we saw on that show and what you did. And we want you to, we would like to see if you're interested in trying out for another show called Stars and Stripes on NBC. And I thought, well, okay, that's, I didn't think, that was going to happen. I thought it was going to be a one-time deal in my lifetime, and that was it. But here I am going and trying out again for NBC. So I ended up going through this long, very lengthy process with NBC, background checks, blah, blah, blah. And they ended up flying me to Universal Studios out there. And I actually did an interview, on camera with just the whole crew there, man. They had all the cameras on me and interviewers and had me sitting in a chair, and basically, they just started asking me a lot of questions. They wanted to see my personality, how I responded, was I TV worthy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And apparently I was, because I was one of 8 guys out of over, I forget how many applicants, but it was something like 6,000 applicants that tried, and 8 of us actually got selected. So that's how I ended up on Stars and Stripes with Terry Crews. And that opened up a lot of other doors. So, those that watched Stars and Stripes with me and Terry, as soon as he and I were eliminated, which I think was the 3rd episode, the ratings just started plummeting, and which is kind of funny because Terry and I were very similar in stature. He's just a little bit bigger than me, but we're 2 older guys, bald head, and both of us grandpas, and we were kind of like, I don't want to say we were the main attraction, but we were out there in front for sure.
Absolutely.
And so and the way we went out was kind of it kind of sucked the way we got disqualified. But essentially, what happened was a couple things happened. One, Terry almost drowned, literally almost drowned, and I had to basically do the best I can to save him. And we did, got him out of the water and everything, and then we went on. And then there was another event where it came down to, we basically got eliminated. We didn't make one of the competitions. We got edged out on it, and it was all over. So, but it was okay. It was a good show. We did a good job, and it led to some other things. And so from there, I was surrounded by a management team. They want to start a production company that was more right-leaning instead of left-leaning. And all the guys in this company were conservatives. They wanted me to be the poster boy for the company. They wanted to do more for veterans, law enforcement, and kind of get away from the left-wing Hollywood, cliquish crap, and so that's what ended up happening. I ended up being part of this team, and then I started doing other TV shows, stunts and acting. And then in time, it just kind of petered off because I was asked if I would move to Los Angeles. I was told I could be on a TV or movie set almost every week, and some of the prevailing thought was that I could possibly be the next Danny Trejo with my looks and everything, you know, and I could be a really good bad guy, I suppose. And but I'd have to live in Los Angeles, and I really gave that a lot of thought. And I thought, man, no way. You know, if I move to Los Angeles, that means I got to leave my daughter behind in North Carolina. Even though, you know, she lives with her mom, you know, she lives here near me, right? And so I wouldn't be able to see her as much as I wanted to. And then I realized, you know what, Hollywood is not really who I am. The people out there, you know, they really are kind of plastic, man. I mean, yeah, they're all actors. They're faking the funk. They're pretending to be, you know, other people, but they're actually all just faking it, you know, and don't get me wrong. Some of these people are really good people, man. Like Terry Crews is just, man, he is the bomb. He's a great, great, great guy. Many others that I'm friends with out there. Unfortunately, they tend to be a little bit more right-leaning or center, but, you know, they weren't extreme left like, you know, we see so often on TV now in the movies. But it's nonetheless, it was not my calling, man. I thought it might be, but it's not. You know, I just realized, man, do I want to live in LA and fake it all the time and be this freaking guy that, you know, I said, no, that's not what I wouldn't be happy. Yeah, the money might be cool for a minute and all the, you know, the fame that goes with it, but it wasn't me, man. I'm more than that. In fact, I'm better than that. Sorry to say it, but I am better than that. And so I decided, now I'm going to go back to Indonesia and keep doing what I'm doing, build my own little empire, and do what I like doing, which is substantive and it's security related. It's trainings. It's stuff that matters, you know, really it's stuff that matters. And so there I went, you know, back to Indonesia and, you know, continuing on with my life and, you know, and I did build my own company over there and I'm living the dream. I've been in Indonesia for almost 7 years now, more than 3 years in Bali. Don't get any better than that, man. So then moving on a little bit, a couple other things happened to me in the book. There's another chapter called The Roadster Warrior. I thought that was kind of funny to add that in there, but all this has to do with mindset, leadership, everything I'm talking about in this book. And, you know, I talk about the good and the bad that's happened to me, you know, and I don't care. I just want people to, you know, be able to, you know, learn things from me and appreciate, you know, maybe they can, you know, there's a little bit of a gold nugget in there that they can use and make their life better, right? Whether it's a good nugget or a bad nugget. So the next story was the Roadster Warrior. And basically here's what happened. I went to the gym one morning. I think it was like a Friday morning or something like that. And I went and worked out and I was pretty jacked back then. And I decided I needed to go to the bank, but I banked with Bank of America, and there was not a Bank of America in Panama City Beach, Florida. The closest one was up in Defuniak Springs, and that was almost an hour's drive just to get there. So I had this BMW Z3 Roadster convertible, you know, it's all souped up, and I said, well, I'll just, you know, run up there real quick and go to the bank. Well, on the way up there, I'm driving for a while, and I'm on this one particular two-lane road, and we're getting ready to cross this big bridge over this bay, and there's this truck in front of me, a pickup truck, and there's a white guy in it. He's wearing, a wife beater T-shirt. He's got a gun rack on the back with a shotgun, a baseball bat. He's got a pit bull in the front. You know, he's drinking a fucking beer, all right, while he's driving, and he's driving slow, and I'm trying to wait to get my opportunity to pass him, go around him. And he just takes his empty beer can, just chunks it out of his truck and hits the front of my BMW with it. So I'm like, what the hell? I lose my shit, right? I freaking honk on the horn, like, you know, flipping the bird, like, you freaking idiot. And he's like, well, he's doing his little thing. And then he just takes off and he starts passing all these cars. And he goes across the bridge on the other side. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to be able to catch him now. And when I get to the other side, I guess he wanted to pick up where we left off on the other side of the bridge. So he pulls over to the side of the shoulder of the road, lets all the cars go by him, and then he slips in behind him in front of me, right? And he's slowing down, and he's freaking raising hell. And I'm basically indicating to him, pull over, man, just pull over, right? I'm like freaking mad. So we pull over, and I guess he wasn't expecting this guy as big as me to get out of my little car. It's a little Roadster, it's a two-seater, right? And and basically I pop out of the car as he gets out, and he sees me, runs back to his truck, gets in and takes off. And he drives into this trailer park. And apparently that's where he lived. So he's going through the trailer park. I follow him in there. And then, I can't find him. I stop. There's a guy in his lawn. I go, hey, man, did you see a truck coming through here? Blah, blah, blah. No. And all of a sudden, here comes the pickup truck and comes back and he drives by again. This time he's got a handgun, right? He's pointing the gun at me as he's driving by, right? And I jump behind my car, like, holy shit, and he just keeps on going. And then he takes off in the woods. So I drove to the front of the trailer park and I stopped my car and I get on the phone. I call 911 and I call the police department. I said, listen, here's what's going on. And can you send somebody out here? Guy's pointing guns at me. He's throwing beer cans in my car, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm waiting, I'm leaning up against my car, waiting for the cops to show up. And all of a sudden, here comes this guy again in the truck. I'm like, oh, crap. And this time he pulls up behind my car, kind of at an angle. And so I walked over to him and go, just stay there. I said, the cops are on the way and we're going to deal with this. And as I got closer, he looks at me, he goes, I'm going to kill you. He goes, so how do you want to die? You want me to shoot you or stab you? And I took him serious, man, because, it's a white guy and he's blowing all this rap music, and he's got this glazed look on his eyeballs, I'm like, is this guy crazy or what, man? So I basically realized I better back away. So I back away and I thought, okay, let me memorize the license plate just in case something goes down. And I look, and this guy had taken the time when he stopped his car. I guess he found a sandwich wrapper from Subway, right? And he wrapped it around his license plate so you couldn't see it. And I thought, what the hell? So I said, okay. And I reached down, I grabbed it, and I pulled it off to memorize his license plate. And he saw me do that. He just lost his shit, right? And he's screaming, you motherfucker. And he gets out of the car and he's coming at me full speed at this point. And I'm like, oh shit, right? So I'm wearing my glasses and stuff and he's coming for me. And so I'm kind of sliding backwards. I pull my glasses off and I toss them way behind me because one, I don't want to get hit with them on. Two, I don't want to break them, right? So I kind of get rid of them. And about that time, he's already on top of me and punches are exchanged. Now, the funny thing is he's throwing bunches of punches and nothing's hitting me, man. It's like, and it was kind of funny. Like, damn, he ain't hit me yet, and he's just coming at me like a windmill. And I remember I was just, I was a professional boxer, kickboxer. And so I'm just letting loose on this guy, man. I mean, just hitting him hard combinations. And finally what happened was he came in at me and I kind of got a hold of him a little bit. And I kind of grabbed him by his shirt and kind of turned him sideways. And I just threw another overhand right. And I hit him in his ear. And his ear literally exploded, man. All the blood just shot out, spread down my arms, hit me in the face, man. It was like funny shit. Like damn, I didn't know I hit that hard, but I did apparently. And that was enough to stun him and put him on Queer Street. And he kind of like reared up straight up, like, what the hell? And then that's when I just let him have it, man. I just started ripping him apart. And I grabbed him by his shirt. I pulled it off. Now all he's got on a pair of shorts that are, hanging down his ass, and and so I've got him and he's doubled over and I'm just pounding the hell out of him. I'm forearm striking him and uppercutting him. And I'm just going nuts on the guy. And then finally, his pants fell off. His shorts fell off, right? Because they were baggy shorts like these guys like to wear. Well, they literally fell down to his ankles. And so now he was hobbled. He couldn't move, right? And so now he's like a stationary target. And I just lit him up, man. And he falls over and I jump on top of him. I'm sitting on top of him, just beating his brains out. And he's now in the fetal position, screaming and hollering, man. He goes, what's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with me, you asshole? And I just punch him even more for even asking stupid question. Yeah, for even asking a stupid question. And I knew I had to do that because it was just me and him out there. There was nobody there, no witnesses. Had he done something to me, I'd have been screwed, man. Yeah. And so it was either me or him is the way I looked at it. And so I'm beating the shit out of him. Finally, he just goes fetal on me. And, okay, man, okay, I've had enough, and I give him a couple extra more just for, just for posterity, anyways. Then I finally stood up and I said, listen, I said, roll her on your belly. I said, and spread your hands out and roll your palms up. Spread your arms out and roll your palms up. And I want you to cross your ankles. And his pants are all the way down his ankles, literally. And he wants to pull him up, and I don't want to let him pull him up, right? I'm thinking I'm going to leave it as to my advantage.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't let him pull his pants up. And he's laying there, right? And he's covered in mud and blood, man. I mean, just covered, right? And he's laying there like, he's pissing and moaning. And by that time, the first deputy showed up. It was a chick. She gets out, guns drawn, and she's coming over, and I'm standing back. I got my cell phone in my hand, and this guy all of a sudden started running his mouth again about something. So right away, I think she figured out he's the asshole. So she runs over there and handcuffs him right off the bat, and she asked me to go back to my car and just stand by there. So I do. I wait over there. And then about 4 more deputy sheriffs pull up, right? So I got 5 police cars out there now, 2 ambulances, and a fire truck. Right? It was like, what the hell, right? It was like a lot of people showing up all of a sudden for this thing. And so all these cops were over there. They're talking to him. He's sitting on the ground, and he's just haggard, man. I mean, just haggard, just bleeding everywhere, bloody and dusty, and he's over giving them his story, and all standing around listening to him. And then I'm just leaning up against my car. They walk over to me, and they surround me. They got their hands on their weapon. They're like, okay, now let me ask you something. They go, what gives you the right just to beat this guy up because, he wasn't driving fast enough or something, right? They made up some bullshit, right? Like road rage. I go, what? I go, let me tell you something. I said, the only reason that guy is not dead today is because today of all days, I didn't bring my firearm with me that I normally carry with me. In fact, I didn't bring my pocket full or nothing. All I got was these. I said, had I had a firearm with me, this guy probably wouldn't be talking right now. I said, you have no idea what I'm capable of. And they're looking at me like, what? I go, I have killed men for less. Okay, a lot less than that asshole. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then, they're looking, and then they see a special forces thing on my car.
Before that, they have no idea you're special forces. They're just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right. And then I told him what happened. And I told him, I said, look, I was in the military, blah, 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 and this kid's listening to all this stuff, right? And he's like, oh, shit. I think he got woke, right? And so he's like, excuse me, can I say something? Can I say something? The cop's like, no, you had your chance, shut up, and they're still talking to me. He goes, no, really, I have something to say, and everybody's looking at him like, what is up for you? And he goes, listen, he's right. It was my fault. I did. I instigated all of it. I did all of it. He's telling the truth. I lied. They're like, what? Right? There you go. So, and now they're going to arrest him, right, for all kinds of shit. And so they pick him up, they bring him over to me, and then the cops asked me, go, all right, well, we're going to arrest him, for assault and all kinds of crap, right? They were, threatening, threats, blah, 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 and, point a firearm at you and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, the guy was going to get himself in a world of shit just over that whole incident. And they go, okay, we're going to take him down. You anything else, you want to charge? Any other issues? I go, no, I said, hold on for a second, okay? And I look at the kid, I said, the kid wants to say something to me. He's like, hey, I say kid, he was about 20. He goes, I just want to say one thing, everybody. He goes, sir, and he's talking to me, I want to apologize for what I did. I'm so sorry, and thank you for your service. I made a big mistake, and I really regret it. And he goes, and I said, okay. I said, you learned your lesson? He goes, yes, sir. He goes, nobody's ever beat me as bad as you did. Not even my father beat me as bad as you have. He goes, nobody's ever kicked my ass like you kicked my ass. And I said, all right, well, but you learned your lesson. He goes, yes, sir. I'm so sorry, right? And the cops were like, you good? I go, no, you know what? I said, I tell you what, man. I said, you know what? Here's some advice. Join the military, man. You could learn a lot about life and keep yourself out of jail and learn something about self-discipline and respect. Go in the military, man. Do yourself that favor, because I really wanted to. I wanted to go in the Marines. I said, well, just go, man. He goes, well, they wouldn't take me. I said, well, figure out a way to have them take you. I said, but this ain't going to work for you. I can tell you that right now. And he goes, yeah, I agree. And the cops looked at me and go, well, what do you want to do? I said, just let him go. I said, no charges. I'm done. I think he learned his lesson. And hopefully, he squares himself away. So the cops uncuffed him and let him go. And like, all right, cool. And I went on my merry way with 2 hands that were like throbbing, man, from punching him so many times. My fists were, I actually broke my finger on this hand because I hit him so hard. I broke my finger on my left hand. And So that was my day going to the bank. Not a typical day, but sometimes it happens. So, anyways, moving on. Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's some other smaller stories in there about my family and some of the stuff we did as a family, doing bodybuilding shows together. Which is kind of cool. My son, who was in his early 20s, and myself in my late 40s. We were competing on stage. My ex-wife. All of us as a family, we made fitness a family sport, an endeavor, and we all trained to compete right on stage, which was really kind of cool. When you think about it, in the day, man, your whole family, or most of your family, a big part of it, is literally on stage together, and we're posing and we showing off our hard work, and what a great thing to do with your family. And a lot of people out there miss the boat, man. A lot of fathers, it's like, and they have kids. It's like, well, what do you do when he's a kid? Oh, my kid, he likes to do this, he likes to do that, or, whatever he does, but what do you two do together? Nothing really, Why not, man? And to me, that's like, it's one of the most amazing experiences I ever had, was standing up on stage with my son in a heavyweight division, right, for the nationals, and we're posing side by side. And then the funny part was, I actually beat my son in that contest, and it's like, wow, And I walked away with the trophy, and so, but it wasn't even for me. It wasn't the competition that was important. What was important was doing something together, and then go and seeing it all the way to the end. And whether win, lose, or draw, knowing that we worked hard enough that we had the right to stand on the stage and do that and compete, right? So for me, it wasn't about winning or losing. It was about doing the event as a group, as a family. And I even went so far as, at the end, when you do a bodybuilding show, you're out there individually, you're posing and stuff, and then at the end you have like a pose off where they get all the contestants from the same weight division out there, and they play some music, and basically it's freestyle. You can do whatever poses you want, to show the judges. And normally what happens is the other bodybuilders, competitors, will get in front of you and block the view of the judge so they can't see you. They're out there, basically getting photobombing you, so to speak, in a way. And I didn't care if they did it to me, but I wasn't letting them do it to my son. So basically, I was playing bodyguard for my son. I was just basically getting between anybody that tried to get in front of him. That was my whole job, to protect him, and I ended up winning. So it's kind of funny. But no, the other thing that happened, which was kind of funny, I think, is, so up to that point, for the last 30 days, we did a lean out diet, right? So that means our diet was very strict. It was the same foods. We weighed the food as certain types of foods. And I went from about 20% body fat down to 3.5% body fat in 30 days. And that's why they call it lean out diet, because you are shredded, man. I mean, just shredded. And so during that lean out diet, you're really not eating any carbohydrates, very small amount, but not really enough to sustain you all day long. So you kind of get goofy, you kind of get weak, you kind of get loopy in the head because you just don't have enough glucose. But your body starts burning fat, but you're also keeping the muscle on with all the meat you're eating and protein you're eating. But I was a guy that was eating chocolate chip cookies on the side while everybody else died. And I'm like, the winning wasn't important to me. The competition was. And so I didn't mind if I cheated, and they caught me, and I'm like, and they got a little mad. Well, my ex got mad at me for cheating, right? And here I go. I win. Out of all of the three of us, I'm the only one that gets a trophy, right? And so now they're like, what the hell? And this guy was eating chocolate chip cookies, and he still won, right? And so when I got the trophy, I remember walking with my son. I know my ex-wife was really disappointed because she didn't place where she wanted to either. And so I looked at my son. I go, listen, man, I said, I can't take this trophy home tonight because I will be sleeping on the couch. There's no way. And, this is going to fly. And so I said, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you this trophy. Call it the trophy of shame, if you will. I don't care. But you're going to hang on to it until we do our next bodybuilding show. And then when you actually beat me, all right, you can give me my trophy back.
Yeah.
And so that's my challenge to you.
Yeah.
Do another show and give me my damn trophy back, but today's not the day, right? So that's what ended up happening. And so he's actually got my trophy. And we haven't done a bodybuilding show since then, mainly because, he's in special forces also. And he's busy quite a bit, but hopefully one day he'll have some time where he can really train up and prepare for a bodybuilding show, and I can, and together we'll do it one more time,
Yeah.
That might be, who knows, I'm 58 now. It could be in 10 years from now, but it'll happen before I die.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyways. So that's the book. Ultimately, I was written, as I tell people, the book is not about me as much as it's about you. It's not about being a badass. It's about being a good ass. It's about, trying to be a good example, do the right things, be a good patriot, good father, a good friend, good man, a good citizen. That's what makes you a badass. Thuggery and being a hoodlum doesn't make you a badass. Talking shit, and having no substance doesn't make you a badass. I eat those badasses for lunch all day long. Badass is trying to be a good ass, especially in the world we live in today. And, trying to be a good person, and everything that you do, being a hard worker, being a good demonstration, that's a real challenge for most people these days, especially young people. They have, their values are not the same. The work ethic's not the same. It's a different culture, and they're getting weaker. Not all, but they are getting weaker as a whole, as the new generation of young people growing up. So that's the reason I wrote the book. Originally, when it came out, I think I may have mentioned it before, but I was on the set, Stars and Stripes, with Chris Kyle, the American Sniper, and we were talking about his book. And I remember he said, "Man, I want to read your book, because I want to grow up to be like you." Those were his words. And I thought, damn, I don't have a book. So I turned around and said, hold on. I called my management team. I need to write a book right now. And I wanted to be, I said, I want to write an autobiography, tell my life stories. But ironically, I said, I don't want it to be all about me. Mm-hmm. I want it to be, I use my stories to motivate and inspire, particularly young men, to be better versions of themselves and to grow up to be men, right? And so that was my thinking was, I want to do something for our youth, especially our boys, because, let's face it, man, these kids, they're almost androgynous, and on the whole, on many levels, they're weak physically, they're weak mentally, and I'm not saying everybody's like that. There's a lot of exceptions out there. There's kids out there, young men that have been raised properly by their fathers and their mothers. But there's a whole lot more out there that are just total losers. And I can speak from actual personal experience in combat, where I've seen this generation go to combat, and it was not a pretty sight. It was sad, in fact. And so I know as a country, man, we're not in a good place. And I just fear that the next war we have, man, it's going to be a disaster for this country, because we just do not. Everybody talks about the American fighting spirit. Well, we had it at one time. We ain't got it no more. Not at that level. I'm telling you right now, I've seen these kids of today literally sit down on the battlefield and take their equipment off while their friends are getting killed in front of them. Okay. And rather than go out and helping them, they took their shit off because it was too hot, and they needed a break. That's where we're at. Okay. That is where we're at. That's a fact. Okay. If I told the whole story about what I've seen, especially in Afghanistan, Iraq, man, this country would, some people would lose their damn mind. They'd probably try to censor me, who knows what happened to me for all that. But the truth is ugly. I've seen it. And, to me, it's just a preview of things to come in the future. And I work around guys right now that on some other projects, like literally, and doing physical work. And these kids, coming out to 18 years old, are just totally clueless, man. I mean, my roommate, he works at, I won't name the place he works, but it's a great job, makes good money. You're out in the sunshine all day, and water and boats. And these kids are just total losers. They show up for one day of work, and they're making $100 a day just in tips, and it's too damn hard. I'm gonna take tomorrow off. My shoulder hurts, my back hurts, this hurts, that hurts. It's like the kids ain't got the same grit anymore because we've coddled them. We've been coddling them since Dr. Spock, man, just constantly coddling everybody, Don't yell at them. Don't call them mean names. Don't spank your kids. Don't do this. Don't do that, Give them what they want, And here we are, right? We got kids that don't know if they're boys or they're girls. They think there's something in between. They want me to believe that there's something in between, so they don't want me to call them he or she. They want me to call them, whatever the hell it is, an it or Z or whatever. Ain't happening, all right? You might lie to yourself, but you're not going to make me lie to myself about who you are. Don't tell me that you're not a boy or a girl when I can see your dick hanging out. Okay, you're a boy, and that's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you you're a man. I'm not going to say you're a man. Okay, and I'll probably be kind of hesitant to call you a boy, but I'll call you a male because you have a penis. And that's what it is. I'm not going to call you anything other than that because you're not going to tell me to lie to myself, make you feel good better about yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit if that pisses people off. What are you going to do? If that pisses you off, you probably can't kick my ass anyways, right? Because you don't even know if you're a boy or a girl. So bring it. Anyways, we live in a different world, man. But anyways, that was the intent of the book. Have I reached out? Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have been reached by the book, been touched by the book, been inspired by the book, have used the book, read it over and over, used the book for coaching and mentoring their own, and so, it's gotten some mileage, right? The intent is being served. Of course, I know I can't change millions of, boys to men or anything like that. But those that are sitting on the fence wondering who they are and who they should be, if you read the book, here's a little incentive. Maybe this will inspire you to to actually grow a pair of balls, and grow up. So,
yeah, it's the oddest thing is like, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, as a biology major, yeah, I mean, you have one of two sex organs. There are very rare diseases where you have both, but the point is yeah, I don't even give a shit if someone wants to identify as this, that, or the other thing. It's just whatever. You do you. I don't give a fuck. But what's masqueraded as tolerance for all is actually not tolerance for all. I'm a tolerant person. I don't give a fuck what you are. I do not give a fuck. Leave me alone, and I don't give a shit. I don't care if you're gay or straight. I don't. It means so little to me. It's like if you told me what kind of toilet paper you use, I'd be like, I don't give a shit. Good for you. What is not tolerant, though, is how the whole thing is not accepting. It's accepting of everything but being a heterosexual man. They are not. If they were tolerant of everything, they would also be tolerant of jacked up testosterone-addled guys who just, that's what they do. They want to join the military. If you were truly tolerant, you would be as okay with that as you would be a guy who wants to be a hairstylist. That's true tolerance. You'd be like, you want to do that, or you want to join Delta? I'd be like, good on you. Be the best hairstylist you can be. Be the best Delta point man you can be. Be the best and do it well. And that's honorable. What is not tolerant is saying we are tolerant of everyone except for men, toxic masculinity, white privilege. It's like, this sounds a lot like repackaged racism. It sounds a lot like a shitty reboot of racism.
Well, and not only that, they've trained these people. They've actually trained those very people that, crying for tolerance and because they're whatever, gay or transgender, whatever the hell they are. They're actually, and they're white people and they're white males, throwing other white males under the bus because we won't lie to ourselves about who they're not and who they are. Right. That's what gets me is I am not going to use a pronoun and lie to myself and call you anything other than what you are. You're either male or female. And so they won't respect that. Like you said, right? It's like, there's no tolerance for that because I'm just being intolerant. Yeah. No, I'm just being truthful to myself. All right. I'm being truth to myself and I'm telling the truth, but you don't like it. You want me to lie to myself and actually lie to you, make you feel good about yourself because you want me to lie and call you one of these pronouns, like, whatever, other than male or female. So not only am I lying to myself, you want me to lie to you so you can feel good about who you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And maybe you think you are, the opposite sex or a toaster. I don't know what you think you are, but you're free to think that all day long.
Yeah.
Okay. But don't ask me to call you a toaster, because that's what you think you are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call, and so the fact that they can't even tolerate the truth and me telling the truth tells me you're right. They're not tolerant. They're only tolerant if they get what they want.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's either I get what I want or you're intolerant, racist, misogynist, and whatever else they can come up with. So, and another thing too, so I know, and here's the other thing, is, well, he's just a closet, homophobe or closet racist or closet blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something, jackasses, if that's what you think. First of all, I got a daughter that's hardcore lesbian, always has been, okay? Was she born that way? I absolutely believe she was. I saw it when she was very little. I was like, okay, this one is a tomboy. At least that's what we thought. And it just never got any better, man. It got even worse and worse. And she is about as hardcore lesbian as you can imagine. She's Dale reincarnate, in a female's body, man, a lot younger. Like, damn, man. And she's a little badass,
Fuck yeah.
And I love her nonetheless, and it's her choice. I respect that. I don't care, like you, I don't give a shit what you do with your life.
Yeah.
But I will not call her anything other than what she is. She's a girl. I'm not going to lie to myself or to her, man. She's a female, okay? Maybe in her mind, she thinks she's a male. She's butch. She's very butch, okay?
Yeah.
But that's in your mind. But guess what? In reality, you're still a girl,
and
no amount of surgery or anything is going to change that, okay? You have the genetics of a good woman, and all you're doing is altering your physiology with surgery and, your chemistry with hormones, but nonetheless, your base DNA says you're a female.
Yeah.
And so it's about being honest, man. And people just don't want to have an honest conversation because it doesn't fit the narrative. And other people like to push that narrative because it supports their political beliefs, their agendas. These others become pawns in a bigger game of life that has nothing to do with them. They just become pawns. Yeah. They're useful idiots, right? I have no problem with you being gay, anybody being gay, even you, Tom. It's okay, you're gay, right? So
I'm like, okay. Dale's like, Tom, you're a total bitch. It's okay. I accept you. And I'm like, Dale, wait, what? What are you talking about?
No, you know what? And the other thing is, just don't force it down my throat. Yeah. Okay, that's it. You be what you want to be. Just don't force it down my throat and tell me I gotta say certain things to make you feel good about yourself. Don't force me to lie or tell me I need to lie to make you feel good. If I don't lie, then I'm being a homophobe or whatever I'm going to be to you. We live in a strange place. I think homosexuality has always been around. It's been around forever, man.
It's been around forever.
Yeah, and so it's not some kind of current, modern day, anomaly. It's always been there. Is it natural, or normal? I would argue it's normal in the sense that a lot of people are doing it and have been doing it. Is it natural? I don't think so, because when you look at biology again, right, we have males and females for a reason, right? You got AC/DC, so that we can be plugged in and procreate, reproduce ourselves. That's it. And so, these people that, don't feel it, that are gay. Okay. You're gay, whatever. Is it a mental defect? I'm not going to call it a mental defect. I'm just going to say that, you might be normal, but it's not necessarily natural. That's what I think. That's my opinion, and I'm not judging. But trying to arrive at a reasonable conclusion is a little bit of a challenge. So, like them, I believe in science, right? Everybody's telling me believe the science. Well, here I'm going to believe the science, and this is what the science says, right? That's a matter of fact. That's what the science says. There's male or female. Yeah. That's it. Now, okay, there's some other, what do you call them? Worms are, what do you call worms? They can, they go both ways. They have male and female parts, right?
Hermaphrodite. There's,
there you go.
There are rare diseases where there's actually, purely technical speaking, there's not just, right, there's male, there's female, and then everyone knows there's hermaphrodites. That actually gets even more like nuanced. I mean, it gets down to like 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million. But I remember learning about these genetics. There are like Klinefelter syndrome is one. There are ones where it's not even XY. It's like XXXXXYY. It's weird. It goes, but the point is like, yeah, I don't give it. You know, we'll wrap this up with a quote from Bill Hicks, who's my favorite comedian who died at age 33. Bill Hicks, stay out of my life. But it's a quote about kind of everything we're talking about, where it's not that I don't care. It's not that I care. It's not that I'm tolerant or intolerant. I just don't give a shit. And it's and I can't find the quote, but it's along the lines of what business is it of yours, what drugs I put in my body, who I have sex with, or what my political beliefs are. And if you're having a hard time answering that, I'll answer it for you. It's none of your fucking business. As long as I pay my taxes and leave you alone, I should be able to do what I want. So take that to the bank, cash it, and take a vacation out of my fucking life. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I don't, or that other meme. My political views are, I think 2 gay men should be able to raise their adopted child to grow their homemade marijuana plants and defend it with AR-15s. Do whatever the fuck you want. That's the purest beauty, is you do whatever the fuck you want. Or what General Mattis said when that senator asked him, what do you think about gays in the military? And he said, Senator, it is not of my concern what 2 consenting adults do in the privacy of their bedroom. I am here to push forward national security. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. It's
I'm the same way, man. But they when it's being forced down my throat, and more, actually, what really concerns me more than anything else is when you try to influence my children in school with a certain belief system, right? Okay, that's not your place. Okay, your teacher's place in school is to teach my kids history, math, English, okay, those tools that are going to need to be a successful adult as they grow up. I don't send my kids to school to learn about critical race theory and all those things. That doesn't belong in the schoolroom, okay? That belongs in the living room with your family, man. That's as a parent's job to teach your kids about morals and ethics and how to treat other people. That's not the teacher's job, okay? But we've gone so far beyond that. Now I'm looking at this critical race theory, and actually what's interesting is how many minority women are standing up against it, going, bullshit. I don't want you teaching CRT to my kid, because what you're telling everybody is my kid's not as good as a white kid, and so all you white kids need to be ratcheting in the back and lowering yourself down to their level. So in a sense, it's actually racist. Right?
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. When people say we need affirmative action, it's like you're implying that the black kid isn't smart enough. 2 of the smartest people I fucking know. One of them, I won't mention the other one, but one of them did go to Harvard. He's a physician now. He went to Harvard Medical School. He went to college with me. He's as black as you get. The dude is a fucking genius. I always talk about how good I was in college. This dude blew my fucking doors off. Straight A's without missing a beat. This guy's legitimately like, not even exaggerating, like from the Congo. Like darker than dark. Name is like, you can barely pronounce it. Smart as fuck. The idea that, we need that's you saying they need help because they can't do what you do. That's
and the other argument is, they need a hand up, because we've suppressed them, blah blah blah. But I'm like, well, how the hell did Obama become the most powerful man in the world?
Yeah,
right. And by the way, he's black. Okay, so how did he get up the ladder? Right? Did just a bunch of white people boost him up there? I mean, they did, but ultimately, there's a lot of success stories of black men and women out there. So why do we keep saying that they're being suppressed and need an extra hand? That's bullshit. I know a lot of very successful black people, as Asians and others. This is all about, at the end of the day, man, even Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that this is about race baiting. This is all about pushing a political agenda. This is all about pushing agendas of smaller freaking fringe groups, to get what they want. I think the vast majority of Americans aren't buying into this bullshit. Okay. It's just the squeaky wheel gets all the grease. So all the little noisemakers out there, that makes news, right? And it keeps everybody's attention. But, at the end of the day, if they didn't get the attention that they're screaming for, I think you see a whole different country. We're back to where America should be and was at one point. We're all kind of like getting along, and doing our thing and being successful. I believe the left needs this. They need this drama to keep them in power and keep everybody going at each other to justify all the rules and stuff that they want to impose. I'm building. So right now, we're looking at and going back to this COVID thing real quick. So it started out with forced masking. You got to wear a mask. Everybody's got to wear a mask, which, we already knew this a year ago, but now we know even more so that they even said masks don't really work, right? They actually measured the size of a virus compared to the pores in a mask. And even on the box of a mask, a box of surgical masks will tell you it does not stop viruses. But we can't just slap them on our face anyways, right? And the government has got you believing this through their subject matter expert policy that you should wear a mask. Maybe we wear 2 masks, right? And everybody's like, yes, sir, 3 bags full and putting them on. Now we're at the point where, now everybody needs to have a COVID card. Okay, everybody needs to have a COVID passport. Why? Why do I need it? And oh, by the way, if you haven't been vaccinated, even though you've had COVID, you still should be vaccinated. Think about that, okay? Think about that line right there and how much bullshit that is. So you're telling me my immune system is no good, but I got experts saying that I am 100% protected for life because of my antibodies from naturally protecting myself from COVID. But you're telling me that's not good enough? I got to put some more experimental drugs in my body that, by the way, only have a 93 to 97 or 96% success rate, effectiveness. That's still not even, and you're like, 99.76% likely to survive any COVID anyways? It just makes no sense, right? But it's a political narrative, and I was this morning, I was looking up downloading COVID passports, right? Blanks on the internet. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to create my own damn COVID I'm not going to get the shot. I'm going to lie because I'm not taking this shot, but I'm not going to be inhibited from moving, traveling, or employment. I know guys right now that lost their job or was about to lose their job if they didn't get the COVID shot. Like, that's forced, man. You're forcing people to take an experimental drug to keep their livelihood. Man, there is no way that's ethical, or nor can that be legal. And if it is, it needs to be against the law. But, people are forced to take these damn vaccines just to maintain their livelihood. And it's a form of compulsion, man. It's either you do it or you lose everything. And so I was looking at it, okay, I'm going to get me a card, and I'm just going to fake it, man. I'm going to find one. I'm going to create my own card, make it look really pretty like it's the real deal. And when somebody asks, you got a COVID passport? Yep, got it right here. Tell me it's not a COVID passport. Just think about the logistics behind that. So if I travel with this fake COVID card, how are they going to know if it's fake or if it's real, right? There's no data bank for this. There's no network. We're going to type in this code and see if you're really, we're not even close to that. How long is it going to take to even create something like that? Yeah. COVID will be long gone by the time they figure that out.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're going to scare everybody to death, get as many of you to take this vaccine. And, I'm just not going to do it. It just makes no sense. Why would I? I've already had the vaccine. I've already had the virus. But, I'm just astonished, when I see people. So I live in Florida, basically it's an open state. Everything's good. No masks, no social distancing. Do what you want. Go back to life. DeSantis, I love this guy, man, the governor of Florida. And yet you still see people walking around all masked up, young people too. Like Jesus Christ. I seen chicks on the beach in bikinis laying out in the sun with a mask on. Huh? There's a failure of our education system, because if you had any biology, any kind of education, oh, by the way, there's the internet. You can do your own due diligence. You would know that UV light kills viruses almost instantly. All right. It ain't going to live on the beach. Salt water, white, bright sand, sunlight, ultraviolet light. But here they are. laying out in a bikini and a damn face mask on. It's like, wow. My roommate, by the way, he's at the point now where if a chick tells him that she got the vaccine or she's wearing a mask, he don't want nothing to do with it. He goes, you know what? You're not smart enough to be with me, and I don't want to be with you. Because I'd rather be a single for the rest of my life than be married up to some quack like that. And sorry if you guys are out there wearing masks. That's your choice. But I can tell you, it's I've done the research, as many people have. I follow a lot of experts out there, real experts, even though they're being squashed because they don't fit the narrative. And just through my own training, my own education, I made a decision for myself and for my life and for my kids and my family. And we ain't getting the damn vaccine. I'll go to war before you put a needle in my arm or my kid's arm to give me a damn experimental drug. Ain't gonna happen. People will die before that happens. I'm not gonna let that happen. You're not sticking me with anything, okay? Because you're scared, you're afraid, and you're gonna want me to take a shot because you're afraid. Go hell. Go to hell. Ain't happening. Sorry. That's me.
Fuck yeah. Dale Comstock, American badass. Come here for all of your American tips.
American tips.
Yeah, your American tips with Dale Comstock. But fuck. Now that we're over at the book, well, shit, Dale. I'm still gonna schedule in for next Sunday because I don't know what to do now. I just talk to you on Sundays.
Yeah, I got plenty to talk about, man. We can talk about some other stuff I've been doing.
Fuck yeah.
So after this book, I finished this book roughly 2011, 2012. But since then, so that was most of my life up to that point. But since then, I've done so much more that I can actually write about 5 more books right now, literally, of these other adventures. It's not like, I just kind of went off into retirement. I live in paradise and I don't do anything every day. It's actually been a situation where, all this weird stuff happens to me. And if I find myself involved in, smuggling people to going after bad guys in, Singapore and Turkey and, my bodyguard experiences, there's a lot that I've done since that time. And so I'll be writing and telling those stories as well. And of course, all of that will be written so that there's life lessons to be learned in these stories, right? Just like an American Badass. It's not just about, me writing an entertaining story, but I want people to be able to read it and start, having some deeper thoughts and start thinking about some things a little bit closer. Go, okay, never thought of that, and hopefully, see the world in a different light. Too many people live, in America particularly. There are people that never left their own state, let alone left the country, never experienced other things. They don't know what's really possible other than what they think they see on TV. And I'm going to show them what's possible. And, just through the things that I have done, just how big this world is or how small it is. And, what's possible if you really want to do something. And in my case, a lot of things happen not because I wanted to do them, it just kind of fell in my lap. And I was kind of either compelled to do them or induced to do them, or just thought it would be kind of fun to do it. And then here I am, got 5 more books in the queue, ready to write more stories. So those are coming.
Fuck yeah, heard here first. Get the book. It's in the description, or listen to the previous 11 volumes. Get the book. It's a fantastic fucking read. And until next, and Dale does performance coaching, Tier 1 performance coaching. And as always, I'll put his Instagram in. Go follow his Instagram. It's a great fucking time. And until next Sunday, Dr. Dale Comstock.
All righty.
Thank you.
Coolio.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
All right, you too.
Recording stopped.